Great. Thank you, Francis, and thank you, Art, for organizing this. And it is a great chance to get together with people that spent a lot of time with talking about poetry, editing poetry, talking about how we're going to make a magazine work, and the many ways it wasn't working. And yeah, at times I miss it. It was fun work. I think for all of us, we'd all say that it was also a lot of work. All of us have lives, and we're writers as well, so keeping on with that is always a constant struggle. But very much kudos to Art for continuing to keep on doing the work that it does, and some of the great new issues that are coming out. Since X, I've kind of retreated back into history, and I've spent about the last 2 years in the 17th century. And that's had some good and some negative consequences. I'm really interested, as with X, I'm really interested in looking at colonialism and looking at kind of first interactions between Europeans and indigenous inhabitants of new worlds. One of the key, and at the same time also interested in how the sort of birth of the Enlightenment and colonization kind of really all kind of came to a nexus in the 17th century, 16th century. And one of the key events that happened then was a really interesting scientific event, was the transit of Venus in 1769. This was a measurement led by one of the most famous measurements that was made by James Cook in his first voyage when he found Australia. At the same time, there's also a number of expeditions that were sent around the world, some of them that we probably don't know about. There was one sent with James and Diamond to northern Canada. They were in northern Canada in Churchill for 2 years to do an 8-hour measurement. And in 1769, which was not an easy feat. And then another Maximilian Hell went to Vardo in the north to do a measurement as well. And so there are a number of measurements that were scientists that were sent out all over the world to do this measurement. And what the transit of Venus did at that time was actually allowed people for the first time to say this is where the Earth is in the solar system, and say this is to actually begin to place and put together what the solar system was, because you could actually work out the distance between the Earth and the Sun. So I've been working with journals from that time period and from those expeditions over the last couple of years, and put together one long poem and one introductory poem. So I'm going to read from those tonight. Observing the 1769 transit of Venus. Not the great whore, not Ishtar, not some fading god of rain or war, not Sarchi Bartman transported live to Piccadilly, exhibited dead at the Musée de l'Homme, nor Venus Celestis, Catharian, bold blood bright, most luminous in the night. Not even Venus of the pretty bottom, the hoped-for spectacle unoccluded by untimely gloom, rolling retrograde at 126,000 kilometers per hour on the edge of the sun. And definitely not Venus Cloacina at the moment of ingress, 05670, purifier of the sewers and goddess of local 503. This is the Venus of white men in shorts, gazing down telescopes as if through a speculum. As two spheres, Venus and the Sun in the wind do shake, collide the 108 million kilometers apart. Venus, she hides behind thick cloud, risen from sea foam over terra incognita, its hidden shoals and ship butchering shambles. Reflected Venus at her mirror in polished copper and tin, hit-mined at Exmoor and polished in London. Strained through smoke, darkened glass, and projected to the retina upside down and reversed, of a man who notes with meticulous hand in the margin of his book that nothing might disturb the observation, no Indian was allowed near us. This is the black drop effect in the 17th century, of a way, as Haley said, to estimate the vast distance of the sun. Maximilian Hell on a mud-covered hill in Vardo, his servant shouting every second in Latin. Wales and Diamond, 18 months in Churchill, a glass of brandy froze solid in the observatory for a page of calculations. Though our morals and equipment may be suspect, though the cooperating nations may now be at war, though we fear the townsfolk still wanting some mystery to God's wrath may burn the observatory, And though Cook's ship in this Arcadia of which we are now kings may sink to lust and venery, as near 100 men pull every fucking iron nail to trade for sex with the Tahitian women. This is how darkness interstellar gives way to compass and to caliper, just as the whole of the flat-bottomed Endeavour gives way to the calcareous plates of Teredo Navalis, fat and full in the trellis of wood it devours, and to the reef's calcium carbonate towers. The people of Bola Bola give way to the people of Olatea, the mechanical clock to the cold's fiery torment, the nameless point to Cape Kidnapper, better by degree than the Bay of Tasman's murder. The mucous membrane to the burning clap une melody condia trap, and seamen whose souls shut out before the hungry sea and nuclear test plutonium fallout, give way to the wind which blows forever. And natives, their skin the color of wood soot, eyes black as jet, give way to Tahitians, Eskimo to Inuit, Lap to Sami, and a 3-year journey to the Venus Transit app with GPS and atomic clock. As Venus, caught in her heavens by a 2-foot Gregorian reflector, spins at 1.7 meters per second across the flat disk of the sun, which gives way to no thing and no one. This, I'll read from this longer poem called Wind. I read a lot of sailing journals, and one thing that comes across in sailing journals is wind. A lot of wind. West and gentle. Breezes with light airs. Clear and correct, then fresh gales with rain. Having settled my affairs in London, west-southwest, I went on board the ship Endeavour, then lying in Galleon's Reach. Calm, clear, and correct. At 3 o'clock in the even, this one ship dispatched with a mission in the River Thames to take a correct observation of the transit of Venus on the 3rd of June, the phenomenon, and to search for some extremely remote, perfectly prepared, even undiscovered winds of the Pacific, in mind at least, weighed anchor with flying rain, and the little dog apropos too. Light is now declared to be of the highest importance to the Royal Society. So much depends upon our definitions of the world, distances from the earth, truths of the sun. In 1767, I thought of nothing less than Venus in this theater of Arctic astronomy and atmospheric brutality. Everything included light. I should explain more clearly and openly, the puck-looking day. What do you have to think outside of the sun? Nothing special today, unless the great coldness of the wind is worth mentioning, unless the entire air swimming with watery exhalations is news, unless a dense fog exceeding thick is of interest, unless dark squalls and lightning are most curious things, unknown in Europe, unknown to me and these people, unknown and dangerous. But what winds we have had this day, set down in the journal, beneath a close-reefed maintopsail, which caused us to tack several times and pass within a cable's length of a very large island of ice. It appeared to me nothing else. We served slops to the men, put our winter rigging, saw the footsteps of people fresh upon the sand, which painted the boat with a gentle breeze, and fog so thick we could scarce see a man on the forecastle. Then a fresh trade wind, and with heavy albatrosses, all wings and tails, so we hauled our courses, and then there came along the boat with several Eskimo women, and we traded wind with the people. I saw what I took, and left them in strings of beads. We deviated from weather with heavy rain only with showers of rain, or squally with rain, or lightning and rain, or hazy with rain, or attended with rain, or very much rain all day, or hail and rain, or snow and rain, or rain and snow, or the night being dark and rainy, or the day drizzling rain, or it rained very fast, or it rained almost all the time, to a very great strain, or a constant refrain. The sea is certainly an excellent school for patience. Winds round our head with rain enough to knock men's brains out. Is it any wonder I lost my mood again? As the grass began to spring up very fast in the bare places and the gooseberry bushes to put out buds, a wind westerly blew very strong, wind power all the nub, and I told 32 islands of ice, while 2 black servants perished in the night with cold. In the southwesterly swells I've been speaking of constantly, a gentle willy-waw, only vapor secured us from all the winds we had not before discovered. So we kept plying to windward all night, kept plying to windward all this day, and plying to windward all this afternoon without getting in the southwest corner, for it's not southing but westing that's wanting. And we made the island of Resolution at the entrance of Hudson's Bay, and there came alongside of us 3 Eskimo in their canoes, the color of the skin like that of wood suit, while we waited for a gentle breeze to blow, their eyes black as jet, from Upper Savage Island to Utopia and Cape Flyaway. One of the great things about these journals is, of course, vocabularies are always one of the key things that explorers write down when they find new indigenous people. And so this is from the Lappish language. So specimens of the Lappish language. They're words for sounds. Like water flowing, like a gently running stream whirring over river rocks. Like an animal in the water splash. Like wolves sing when I cry ass drunk. Like a fire salt sprayed. Like arrows when the bow is shot out. Like knocking as I roll down the higgers. Like sacks when falling to the ground. A sound like an empty vessel when tapped by 2 empty containers. Like water falling in a fire. Like the tree mouse, grr. Like sand between your teeth or a ball that gets stuck in a tube. A noise like knocking a fish. Like a dog which flatters. Like the butt of deer antlers or hooves running, noisily sipping like when someone eagerly drinks. Sometimes hear this sound when the larynx nip slips.